Hello, encouragers. I'm Rebecca Scott, wife, mother of 4, author, and owner and designer of Rebecca Scott Designs. I'm here to encourage you, to make you feel the I can do this spirit each and every day of our awesome journeys to fulfill those many important roles. I believe we are fully equipped to execute, and I will provide you with as much knowledge and practices and systems as I can to help you understand just what I know you can do. Execute. We got this. Hello, encouragers. On today's podcast, I get to say we have a frequent returner. We have my guest and friend, Tiffny Hagan, on to talk to us today a little bit about why your where matters. You know, in my podcast, I talk frequently and also in the book about key decisions, meaning you need to make these key decisions when you start a business or when you work from home. And one of those key decisions, it's the who, what, when, where, and why. Tiffany's going to talk about where today. And I love the subject of where because for me, my where is my studio. And when I walk into my studio, I literally hear the heavens open up and the Hallelujah chorus. I love my where. And what Tiffany's going to talk to us about today is just how to make it, this is too heavy of a word, but how to make it sacred so that you look forward to coming into it, how to make it approachable. And one of her strong suits is how to make it organized and so many words. So many words are coming to me, Tiffany. So first of all, welcome, Tiffany. Thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you. It's always so fun to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So the subject of where has come up more frequently since all of this virus talk. And my listeners know I don't even call it a virus anymore. I'm just calling it a season because I'm sick of hearing the word like all of us. But in our little pre-interview chat here, Tiffany mentioned how a couple of her business associates are saying that it's really important to talk about it right now, and they're interested to see what we come up with because it's heavy right now with us all changing our where. Some of us are now working from home, and we've never done that. Some of us are changing our business models, so our where may be more fluid, so we need to be better organized within just our bag. P.S., shameless plug, I have a great bag for that. But we can't deny that our where is becoming more and more important. So I'm really excited to dive in here, Tiffany. What would you say your where needs to represent in your home or wherever you are?
So I would say your where needs to represent you and whatever makes you, whatever speaks to you. So I'm a big one that my head needs to match what my gut is feeling. So if they're not matched up, something is off. And I try to, when I work with different people, and even when I'm talking with friends, I say, if something is feeling off, then you need to either do a gut check or a brain check, one of the two. So wherever you're working from, wherever your where is, it needs to represent you. It needs to be comfortable. It needs to have the things around you that you need to do your best work, to be creative, to be spontaneous, to be productive. And if those things aren't flowing, then something probably isn't right.
Yeah. I love that. That is kind of the approachable part about it. The one thing that I emphasize frequently is that it needs to be beautiful, but what your form of beautiful is. So even if yours is, I have a photographer friend, she realized she hated her office space because it just felt stifled and not creative. So I thought, well, paint the walls or put a fun wallpaper up, get organized. She said, no, honestly, it needs to be outside. Perfect. Then if you know that, build a great patio with a desk out front. And she did. And then it became more approachable and more where she wanted to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And good for her that she could feel that and listen to that. And she knew that. Something just wasn't right. And so she's probably doing fantastic work, but it's just not the work that at the level she wanted to produce.
Absolutely. And I love that you say a head check and a gut check, because I always say your gut is your God organ. So if something's not sitting right, it's your consciousness. It's God saying, something not quite. And so I love that that's a question we also need to ask ourselves in our where. So let's talk a little bit about the where. What are some suggestions if, say, we've got somebody who's like, my where is not working for me? What are some of the steps we need to do to make it better?
Yep. So there's a couple different things. If you have a current where, like if you're home-based business,
Okay.
and you've got something that you claim as an office, whether that be an extra room or whatever you've got in your space now, maybe just go in an off hour and don't go into it during a normal work day. Just roam into your office space and stand and feel what that energy is. Maybe it's just that there's clutter everywhere. Maybe it's, like you say, it just needs to be spruced up. Maybe you just hurried up and moved in quick and you didn't take time to actually make it your own. That might be a good place to start, because it might not be necessarily the space, it's what's around you. You could be drowning in clutter. That could be a big one. But if you say, nope, this isn't the space for me, or if you, for whatever reason, are new to being in, let's say it's your home space, my best suggestion is to walk around and see what you have available to you. So I've had clients who get really creative. They might, convert a closet space into a workspace, take out whatever storage that they've got in there and just gut it and make the closet space their own, so that they can shut the doors at the end of the day, but they know that that's their workspace. It's a permanent space. They can put all of their things. It works for them. Or it's an armoire, an extra armoire that's maybe in the living room, or it's claiming a weird space in your home that doesn't really, it's quiet, but it doesn't really serve another purpose, but you somehow connect with it.
Okay.
To me, the biggest thing is when you're just calm, wandering through your home and feeling what feels good to you. If you want to be next to a window where you can look outside, then make sure that your space is somewhere where you can be looking outside. If you get too distracted by that, go in the opposite direction. I think that's probably the biggest tip that I have, is to make sure that you are really dialed into what feels good to you, because you're going to spend a whole lot of time in that space. And if you don't like it, it's going to be miserable, and you're going to find yourself moving around to other places of your space, and you're not going to be productive.
Absolutely. And it'll trickle down to your product or your service.
Absolutely.
100%. Like if your energy is being forced, you're forced into the space and you're forced in this new position, it will trickle down to how you serve people or how you make things.
Absolutely. And then if you even want to continue what you're doing, because after a while it just drains that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's say we found the space, we're feeling calmer, we're feeling energetic because we're kind of digging it. What's the next thing to do?
The next thing to do is to make sure that you have the physical pieces. You need to have a good desk. You need to have a comfortable chair. It doesn't have to be an office chair, but just something that's comfortable to you. Your computer, whatever it is that you need to do your work. And I guess I should step back and say, I'm coming at this from an office point of view where, like Rebecca, you don't necessarily, you have more of a studio setup, but if you're doing more of an office type setup where you're behind a computer screen, put the pretty things around you too. Once you get those physical things in, like the desk and the chair and the computer, make sure you have those things around you that, like, they just speak to you. If it's, a favorite photo from, a family vacation, or if it's a picture of your family, or if it's your dream board or your vision board, or make sure you have those things in front of you as well, or around you. And then always, because I can talk until nobody wants to hear me talk about it anymore, organization. You want to make sure that you have some sort of a file system, some sort of a means to get the paper out, whether that be a shred or trash can or, you need to have those organizational items that will serve you well close by also.
Okay, we got to pause there because so many thoughts here. So like Tiffany is saying, second step is your physical things, your desk, your computer. For me, it would be my machines, the cutting table, and inventory. So where is that stuff going to go? Start deciding where that goes and where the flow of things goes. So I would recommend, you probably say the same thing. I flow in a certain direction when I'm sewing, and I'm a maker, so I'm thinking this probably happens for a lot of us. We start to notice where our done pile is, because we want to know, okay, that one's ready to ship out. So don't have things all over the place. You need to kind of mark transitions, especially as a maker. So this is where I cut. This is where I start sewing, finish sewing, whatever that might be. And here's where I ship. And unless those areas are clearly defined, especially as makers or creative people, you will always feel chaotic. So you've got to kind of, even if it's a tray, the tray is the finished thing, whatever. I work left to right, and the few times I've confused it, I mess up the orders. So it just helps me to stay organized, but still creative, and my hands are in it. But I've got very clear areas marked for the finish versus in process. And then you mentioned the organization part of it. You can keep saying it because that's why I keep having you on. I've never met somebody so efficient, but not just efficient, because you can be efficient all the time, but you must be effective as well. And one of the best things, I've preached about this many times, I know you encouragers have heard me, is the best thing I ever did was take Tiffany's course on how to file your paper, which now, since then, you have titled it the Hagan Solution. And I believe that is still available, correct?
It is. It is.
Oh my gosh. And you guys, this will change everything. If you just got hit really hard with this season and you are piled with papers everywhere, Tiffany will drastically change that when you take this course, and you can take it on your own time. And I never have papers all over the place. I still might miss a birthday party, but that's because of me, not because of my paper system. Like, I can file the invite here and I can file the event here. And even when things got chaotic during this, I still was like, I felt in control of my paper and not overwhelmed, because I was like, okay, well, I know how I'm going to file the paper coming in, and I could deal more with what I want to say, voice type things or conversations and discussions that I had to have to change my model a little bit, because my paper was not part of that conversation. I wasn't feeling overwhelmed by that. I could concentrate on what the new changes had to be because my papers were organized. So just think about doing that. Anything else you would have to say about the Hagan solution, Tiffany?
Well, if they're interested at all, they can go to virtualofficeadvantage.com and they can look at the course. But I would say it's exactly what you just described, and it's meant to be, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. So physically, when you're starting to talk about laying out your office, it's something that doesn't take up a lot of space. But you are just able to know every day what it is that you need to accomplish that day. So it takes the chaos out. It takes the wonder, the
panic.
It's just one of those things that is, and so you were talking a little bit about, sorry, I'm jumping all over, but you had also talked about those of us that maybe are a mobile professional, or they're going between the office and home. This is one of those things that you can just take it with you. So whether you are working remotely and coming back home to work or vice versa, you can take it with you, and you're not going to lose anything. You know what to do from day to day.
Yeah. I cannot say it enough. Like, it's the single thing that changed so much for me, especially as a maker, a creative person. I need lots of things and lots of options in front of me when I'm creating. So the paper in front of me was the only way I knew how to do it. And then when I took the course, realized, it helps me to be more creative because I'm not worried about losing something. And like Tiffany said, you can take this system with you. And while it is easy to figure out what it is so approachable. That's why Tiffany's approach to things is like just making it simplified. So it's not complicated. It is simplifying things and making it easier to access your things and get more done, be more accomplished, feel more creative, feel more confident, all of the above. I go on and on, but everyone visit Virtual Office Advantage. Take the course. Tell her I sent you, because you're going to love it.
It really does. It takes that part of, I think, what you were feeling maybe too is a little bit of that mental chaos, because when we're looking at all the things in front of us, we're visual people. And so the more that we see in front of us, your brain is constantly saying, I'm not done, I'm not done, I'm not done. And when you can have an organized place that you know where your papers are at, or your task is for tomorrow or for next Tuesday or for next month, when you have an organized place to put it, it gives your brain a rest, and it turns off that chaos. It turns off the spinning in your brain, because you're not seeing it and you know where it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good. So let's say we get organized, we get our file system, we get our Hagan solution up and running. what's the fourth step we need to do in our new wear?
I really think that the fourth step is to settle into it. What I mean by that is just to settle in and let your brain take a beat and just to say, this is my space. This is where I go when it's time to work. So
yes.
Problem with working off of your kitchen table, it's not that it's awful to work from your kitchen table if that's what you have, because some people, that's what they have, but to have a permanent space where you don't have to pick it up and put it away every day, to have a permanent space, you get to claim it and you say, this is my space. And when I leave that space, I can turn off the day. And when I walk into the space, it's time to work. I can feel creative. I can feel good. And it's settling into, this is my space.
And I think when you have it set up, it's a place of honor. So your family and your friends start recognizing, oh my, like they honor it too, because you're respecting the space and they're like, yeah, this is mom's workplace, or this is my wife's workplace, or this is my daughter's workplace. It's all of a sudden sets you up for that much more success because everyone honors and respects it alongside of you.
Right. Yeah. And it's
the dining room table, like you said, we've all started somewhere. We all started our kitchen table, our dining room table, but you can't deny that when you did make it a little bit more official, how much more you too applied all of yourself to it. Like, okay, no, I've set up the space. I'm going to own this. I'm doing this.
Right. And with the kid component, it is so good for those little kids. So I started when my babies were, tiny. Well, Mitch didn't exist, but so like from tiny, and on. My kids have learned, and I'm sure your kids have learned, yeah, that's mom's space, and we respect it. But like, oh my gosh, they get to watch you. They get to watch you claim your space and say, this is mine. I get to create in here. I get to grow in here. I get to expand in here. And what an awesome lesson too for your kids to see that. And they get to feel that.
Yes, and they get to see your joy in it.
Right.
So in my wear, I had to fight tooth and nail with some contractors when we remodeled. Contractors mean, i.e. my husband, for the size I wanted the door from my studio to what be the toy room in this house. And he was like, honey, I cannot make it that big without adding all this extra expense. I'm like, I don't care what we have to do. The door needs to be this big. And I wanted it super big so that for me, now this is not for every job, you guys, but for me as a creator, I wanted the girls and my son to know this is mommy's studio, but it is a part of this home. It is a part of our life. We harmonize both roles together as mother and as owner and designer. This is all as one. So it wasn't like that's mommy's workplace and inaccessible, but rather that's where mommy is happy creating. I can be a part of that space and I can also be right next to it. Right. So I wanted a real good family feel for it. Now I say that meaning because I get to create, and so I can stop in the middle of a scene and help a child. If you have a job that's more computer focused and that would drive you nuts, don't apply that rule for you. But I'm also giving you permission. Like sometimes it's really awesome, but like Tiffany said, your kids will go, sweet, this is where mom works. This is where she's humming. This is where she's singing. This is where she's dancing in the dark, because they know how much joy your job gives them.
Absolutely. And so when you are so we blend the 2, 3, however many components together too. So when we are sitting and having dinner, my kids can give my elevator pitch just as easy as I can, because we've sat and we've talked for so long. But they get to see that. They get to see where I come to work, and they get to be a part of that. And it's a good thing.
Yes, it's such a good thing. I'm laughing inside because I just had this conversation with my daughter, Iverson. She is 10. And she said to me the other night, as I'm putting her down, and she's been making chapstick holders for my website. She says, Mom, I think I need my own label. I'm like, label? Oh, my goodness. I never even knew she kind of knew what the word was. She goes, well, I don't want to use your label. And I'm like, oh, boy. Now she's going to masking tape off her wear inside my studio and be like, and now this spot is mine, Mom.
Fantastic.
Yep. That's so far, so good. Awesome. So we settle into it. So what we talked about, we kind of just walked into some steps here about why it's important. And especially during the season, you guys, your wear needs to be a place you honor and you hold sacred and you respect it and you love to spend time in it. So feel it out in your house if you haven't found this. Feel out what is the energy in this area. Do I like this? Do I feel creative? Do I feel stifled? What is already available to you? You don't have to go and rent an office space for $800 a month. This may, which obviously is not as available right now anyways, but it can be within your own home. And then think through the physical things, your desk, your computer, your machines, your whatever it is to make or to do or to serve in your area. And then definitely the organization. What's the file system going to look like? What's your paper system going to look like? What's your flow of steps of your job of servicing people? Does that go left to right? Do you need certain stacks set up? And then the settling in so that you can own it and honor it and respect it and make it known to everybody. This is where I'm going to burn holes in the floor because I'm going to get so much momentum in this space.
Yep, right on.
Okay, so we've had our space. We've done our 4 steps. We're ready to be in it. Tiffany, how does our wear affect our mental health and also our physical health?
Well, our mental health, it gives us the opportunity when we walk into our space, whatever that space is, it prepares us for the day. So we can say, I now know what I need to do today. I know it's just a part of your normal routine of when you walk into your space, here I am. And then physically you should come behind you and feel, yes, that rush of energy and that creativeness that comes right behind it. And it also, having the right space, why your wear really matters is because, especially in this season, is minimizing that stress and that feel of chaos. And if you don't have that personal or that permanent wear, that just really lights you up, that feeling of stress just follows you. That feeling of chaos follows you because you are forever picking your things up and moving them to a different location, and you don't really have a sense of, this is my permanent space, this is where I belong. It's always just temporary. So again, your mind is saying like, okay, I'm not done, rather than, okay, I've arrived, and here I am, and I can be creative, and I can just turn on all the energy, and at the end of the day, I can walk out, and I know it's here tomorrow, but I can just walk away from it.
Yes, I got goosebumps when you said I've arrived, because we so frequently just keep the hamster wheel going, and we don't want that. And our space should provide as much energy as it does provide rest, where it's like, okay, here's where I belong.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Since you understand a lot of this from the organization point, how important is physical health, meaning the ergonomics of how we work? Have you done any studies or help people with the ergonomic part of it?
Yeah, so the ergonomic part of it is just as important as your wear, really, because the worst thing that you can do is sit on the couch to work. Because if you think about it, your posture isn't good, you're kind of teetering your laptop, you're not really, your feet aren't firmly on the ground, you're not sitting up straight, you're not at a good, you're not sitting at the right level to be able to type. Don't sit on the couch. Don't sit in your bed. Just like being at a normal workspace, whatever, like for me, I do have a normal desk. It's funny that you bring this up because the hydraulics in my chair are actually starting to give. The chair is old enough and I feel it. So at the end of the day, I feel my shoulders tensing up because I'm having to raise my arms too high to type. So then I'm feeling the stress in my shoulders, and I'm feeling that anxiousness of I can't get to the right height to type. I have to make adjustments. And so absolutely that the ergonomics plays into the physical, and even screen time, the screen time being on your screen so much, jumping from thing to thing, being on your phone or tablet or computer or laptop. It's just, that plays into it a lot too. That plays into the physical stress.
Yeah. And if your space, and that goes back to, if your space was set up to be as most effective and most efficient as possible, where you can do the work in a timely manner and shut down at night, our health will be better as well. Because it's like, I'm going to go run 4 miles because I feel on fire. or I'm going to relax and take the dogs for a walk. It could be either or feeling, but your space and your where should allow you to have that.
Right. Because you should walk out of at the end of the day. I hate that word should, so I'm not even going to say that. But your goal can be to walk out at the end of the day to say, like, mentally, I might be really tired because I left everything I had in that office, but I still feel energized. I still feel physically, I feel good. Physically, I can go out and do something. I can take the dog for a walk. I can go play with my kids. I can go to the ball game, whatever, and recharge myself. But physically, I feel good.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I had an 8-to-5 job before I got to do my awesome design work now. And we had to go to a seminar on ergonomics, whatever. And I was like, whatever, this is going to be the most boring. I was completely blown away at how fascinating and what a difference it made when I had a better office chair and when my hands were at the right way to type. And I could not get over how good of a lesson it was and how ashamed I was that I thought it was going to be bogus. It was so good. And so I use it in my current space. Well, I wish that's what I got to do. That's my next job, you guys, is to make ergonomic chairs cuter, because right now they're kind of ugly, but they are really efficient. But I do make sure I'm sitting straight up as if I'm on the piano bench when I took piano for so many years, because it makes a big difference in how I live in my back and my arm strength and especially because my job is so physical. Those things matter. The everyday decisions matter for reaching massive goals.
It does. And even you find yourself, if you can get your feet to be flat on the floor and sit up straight, the energy flows through you better. Also, you're not conscious. And, you kind of get that blocked energy feeling where if you can sit up straight and you can put your feet flat on the floor, it's just like things are just different. The feeling is different.
Yep. And then if you want to kick it up 1,000 notches, show up for the part in a nice outfit.
Yes.
You'll sit up
every
straighter
day.
when you're wearing jeans and when you're wearing sweatpants, everybody.
Yes. Every day.
Yep.
Get up, dress up, and show up every day.
Yes. It's so true. So when I started doing in the beginning, of course, I was so excited to be working from home. I didn't care about makeup or hair or anything. I just wanted to make myself crazy. Then I started thinking, this is not exactly working, because I started showing up with the same pair of jeans or yoga pants or gauchos is what was popular back then. So I started with simply changing my earrings every day. Like super practical, but changing my earrings every day, then developed into putting on makeup, then developed onto dressing the part better. But I started with my earrings. Isn't that funny? Just the simplest way of like, listen, I'm going to change. And my twin sister she decided to put lipstick on. She's like, you know what? No, I'm going to wear lipstick every day. And that was her way of showing up. So it's a mental thing and a physical thing that combine together to create the energy you need to just keep working at your goals, basically.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been awesome, Tiffany. These are great tips for us as we're kind of changing gears or maybe just strengthening what we've already been doing. But I just can't tell you guys, share this podcast with those that have really drastically had to change their lives in the last 6 months and went, how do you work from home? And maybe you are already doing some of these things. Make sure to share this with them and share what's working for you, because I know that it is possible. And going forward, things are going to change sometimes permanently for people. So these steps are just very doable, and you can adjust them to whatever it is you're either making or servicing, and then make sure to check out Virtual Office Advantage. Tiffany, is there anything you would like to tell us about what you have going on that the encouragers could take advantage of?
Yeah, so actually, if they are interested in the Hagan solution,
yes, we are.
I do have a deal for you, and I'll just give it to you, and you can put it in your comments, because I always want to share with you guys. Yeah, and I think I have one other little tidbit of information that I just want to share. So people that work with little kids in their house kind of get irritated when they're in the train of thought. So one really simple thing to do is to just go Google like white noise sounds or like energetic music, and it will drown out everything you've got going around you, and it'll just like give you this surge of energy.
Okay. Thank you, because that is a lot of us right now.
Yeah. It helps with that energy, and it blocks things out. And a good pair of headphones never hurts anything. Just to block out whatever's not around you.
If our teenagers can look cool doing it, there's got to be something behind it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for being encouraging, Tiffany, and thanks for making this so approachable and offer us even a course within it as well. This is just going to be amazing. Everybody, I'd love to see, and we'll be posting, so make sure you're part of our Facebook community. We're going to be posting about our wear, so we can all kind of get some tips and ideas from how our spaces have changed and what we can do to encourage one another. Until next time, encouragers, we got this.
I know how you can start executing on all the things that God has equipped you to do. You can pick up my book at theencouragerpodcast.com and check out the store complete with book, journal, and the master course. Also, make sure to check out the resources tab where you'll get a hold of all the PDFs from the podcast. Thank you for tuning in, encouragers. Remember to subscribe so it's automatically on your phone. And please rate and review me. We got this, encouragers.